Hey everybody, this is Zika Rita Shipmate from Tumblr, and I am doing my video log for Once Upon a Time, Season 3, Episode 9, Save Henry. I tried doing this earlier this afternoon, but I had to go to work, so I had to cut it off, so I have to do it again. Um, yeah, Save Henry. Wow. Um, Overall, the episode was really good. I was even impressed with the flashbacks, and I'm not usually too much into the flashbacks because the flashbacks tend to get kind of boring, um, especially when they're about the same groups of people over and over, which I'll get into in a minute. So this episode takes place right where episode 8 leaves off. Henry's still unconscious. Peter Pan has his heart, or Peter Pan, great granddad, has his heart, and it's up to the the Nevengers to get the heart from Peter Pan before he absorbs all the magic from it, and in the process killing Henry. Regina puts a protective spell on Henry to keep his body in stasis, but it'll only last for an hour. That's that's as much time as she can give them to find Peter Pan. So, considering that they have looked every other conceivable place on the island but cannot find him, they decide to talk to the Lost Boys. And instead of responding with violence or ripping of hearts, which would have been Regina's answer, because at this point, Regina has gone completely badass and no longer cares what she has to do or about being nice. All she really cares about at this point is finding her son. Emma says to her, let's take a different tack. I mean, they might be Lost Boys, but at the end of the day, they really are just kids, and they want what all children want, a mother. So she appeals to that part of them, the lonely, abandoned, lost part of them that she identifies with, being a lost girl. And she gets them to open up by promising them that once they get Henry's heart back, that everybody's going home, including those boys. Everybody goes home together. The only one that is not in agreement with this is, of course, Felix. He is completely loyal to Pan, and that is going to come into play in the next episode, episode 10. So eventually, the rescue of Henry is actually kind of anticlimactic, because I was assuming that it was going to be Emma's doing mostly, since she was the one that fought so hard and led the whole group the whole time. It turned out it was actually Regina, because the only way they could do it was by doing something that Emma has not been able to find it in herself to do. They did say that Emma was going to use more magic, but this kind of magic, ripping hearts, ripping Pan's heart out of his chest, or I should say Henry's heart out of Pan's chest, is not something that Emma is capable of at this point. She's too afraid of succumbing to the darkness, the dark pull of the magic by doing that. So when Snow and Emma and Regina are tied to that tree, which feeds off of regret and guilt, apparently what Pan did not anticipate was the fact that Regina had no guilt, no regret whatsoever for the things that she'd done, because it all led her to her son, who was the most important part of her life. So she was able to escape the tree and get Pan's heart. So they all go back to the ship, including the Lost Boys, and they return his heart. Neil also lets Rumple out of the box, and there's a heartwarming little scene in there. I mean, I don't particularly care for Neil all that much, at least when he's around Emma. When he's on his own, I don't so much mind him. He's actually a decent guy, It's just, he's a decent guy, just not with Emma. And whenever he says Papa, that just breaks your heart, because all you see when he says that is Bay, little Bay. And I'm glad that they've finally gone in that the direction they needed to go to with his character. His journey is not being with Emma. It is finding his father, finding his son, and the the relationship there. It's mending those cracks and finding a family again. That's what Neil really needs. And hopefully this will be those first steps to getting to a better place with his father. If Rumple stays on the straight and narrow. Who knows? So they think all is safe, and they use the shadow and attach it to the sail, and they're going back to Storybrooke, and they think that all is safe, but Peter Pan is not done yet. Little shit that he is, and he decides to try to get a heart from Henry, but Regina has put a spell on him to make sure that his heart cannot be removed from his body by anybody. So when Pan realizes that this has happened, he knows there's only one way that he can save himself. When Rumple tries to save Henry's life by putting Pan in the Pandora box, what he doesn't realize is that Pan, as that is happening, switches places with Henry. So now Henry is Pan and Pan is Henry. And the only person on that ship that knows it is Felix. Because he's the only person who Henry is, or Pan, Henry Pan has revealed the truth to. There's a lot of cute side scenes here. Some daddy charming with Emma, him saying how proud he is of her, and that he didn't believe at first that such a disparate group of people could come together, a villain, a wizard, a pirate, a knight, but they all had one thing in common that kept them together: the missing ingredient, the glue, which was the leader, Emma. She said, I'm just here. I was just here to get my son back. That's it. Tinkerbell, or Wendy, gives some pixie dust to Tinkerbell, so that livens up her spirits, and she realizes through a conversation with Regina that she may yet still have enough belief left in her to make that pixie dust work. So I think we all know that once she gets back to Storybrooke, there's gonna be a confrontation there between her and the Blue Fairy about getting her wings back. We all know how desperately she wants that back. Oh, and maybe if Regina is a kind enough soul, hopefully she'll go to bat for her. Yeah, everybody is. Oh, when Henry wakes up from having his heart put back in his chest, there's a cute little thing with Hook there where he offers up his captain's quarters. And I know everybody on Tumblr was like, this is the bed he sleeps in. Yeah, you all imagine this huge 4-poster bed, but you guys knew what his captain's quarters looked like from the flashback in Good Form, because that used to be Liam's room, and the bed was not that big. I mean, what did you expect? It's a freaking Navy ship. You didn't honestly expect that just because it was the captain's quarters that it was going to be, some grand lap of luxury. Are you kidding? There's not that much room. I can say for certain, having been in the Navy for 8 years, that even the captain's cabin on a Navy ship, it's not, the Ritz. There's only so much room that they have, and everything on a ship is supposed to be practical for some use. It's not supposed to be, everything there has its place and has its point. Now, I will say that the pink salmon colored sheets and the pretty blankets and throw pillows. It was probably Mila's doing, and if so, that's just heartbreaking, because that means that didn't have the heart to change anything since her death. And how the hell the two of them fit in that tiny bed, I have no clue, because it looks like it's not much big, that it can't fit much more than within one person. And I highly doubt that Mila was going to be bunking in the crew's quarters. I'm just saying. I don't know how they made it work, but I guess they did. It's one of those unanswerable questions. Well, so we got our chance to see the crew's quarters. I mean, there wasn't much of Hook this time, but we really weren't expecting it. This was focused again on Henry and saving him. So, and then of course there was that cute little step off, bitch, moment when Killian asked him, "Are you sure your plan is gonna work?" And this shadow, and Neil says to him, "Yeah, I'm sure, as long as you're sure your ship's gonna hold up." And the look on his face is like, "Oh no, you did not." And so I know you did not hit my baby. I know you did not. Step off, little bitch. I don't think so. This ship, fastest ship in all of the realms. Thank you very much. Just got your ass through a portal. Flew in the air. Oh, actually got through a portal. No, not twice. 3 times. Thank you. Don't go there. Don't go there. Yeah, Hook is having none of that shit. And I gotta agree. That scene wasn't about them trying to one up themselves for Emma's benefit. That was just that was a kind of male pissing contest, sort of, you know. And Neil should know, having been on the ship before, that the Jolly is a good ship. And Killian would die before allowing anything to happen to his lady. So there's not much else. The episode ends with them shooting through the Neverland sky back towards the second star to go back to Storybrooke. And next week, tomorrow, we'll pick up with them coming back to Storybrooke and making port. And this is when we'll get to see the fruit of all of those initial behind-the-scenes photographs that we saw of the Jolly Roger in Port Storybrooke and everyone walking off the ship, and all those photographs of them smiling and hugging each other. There was photographs of Bay and the Darling brothers and Wendy, and I am so excited for that reunion. I am more excited for that than I was for Bay and Wendy. Oh my god, I want to see that so bad. Those poor children have been waiting to find each other for over 100 years, and when they realize that Bay is with them, they're going to have a shit. Because I know they didn't expect that, you know, I know they're not expecting Bay to be there. It's going to be amazing. And for me, I think this is actually really good, because the Darlings, John and Michael and Wendy, were his family. Like with Emma, when she was with the Swans for the first 3 years, she considered them mommy and daddy. That was her family before they sent her back. And John and Wendy and Michael was the only family that Bay ever felt he really had after his father abandoned him. You know, I know that he always wanted to go back to them. So to have them there, I think, especially in the midst of all the relationship issues with Emma, this is good for Neil, and that he knows now. He'll know now he doesn't have to be alone. He has the 3 of them. He has his father. He has Henry. He's got a strong foundation of people that will support him. He's got, you know, he's got something there. He doesn't have to worry about running anymore. He can find strength in that family, especially John and Michael and, you know, those three. Because he was closer to them than anybody. To have them there, if something were to not work out with his father, he would still have them, undeniably. I don't know if the three of them are going to stay and be like recurring characters or not. It'd be nice if they would. I don't think they'll be going to the Enchanted Forest because that's not where they're from. They're actually, you know, from here just like 100 years ago. Anyway, you know, I would really like to see the three of them together more. The four of them need each other. They really do, and Neil needs it especially. I think that will help him in the long run. Now, I know what we're all looking forward to in this episode. What we've already been told is going to happen is that there's going to be a conversation between Killian and Neil in reference to their relationship with Emma and how they're going to deal with it. And Adam and Eddie said that the two of them actually deal with it in a surprisingly calm way. Some people are saying that Neil is going to realize that Killian really does love her and that Emma has moved on and that she doesn't want to be with him anymore, or Neil anymore, and that maybe Neil's going to take the high road and back off and let her go. Wishful thinking. We'd all like that to happen, right? I don't think it's going to happen that way. I think that Killian and Neil are going to realize that right now Emma is not ready for that. That doesn't by any means mean that Killian's going to not pursue her. He most definitely will. But, like, trying to force her hand is not the way to go. And Emma is not in the mindset right now to deal with romance. She needs time with her son. She needs time with her family. She needs time to settle. Because they haven't had a moment's peace in how long now? And that's one thing that is very important. They're not going to get peace, though. It's just going to be one thing after another after another. You know, he made her a promise that he wasn't going anywhere. So he's going to be there regardless, no matter what. But I think they're both going to come to an agreement to walk away. And to give Emma the time and space that she needs to, you know, figure out her headspace and deal with all these outside issues first. And wait till she's ready to make that step. Because that's what Killian wants. He doesn't want to force her hand. He wants her to come to him. And the only way she's going to do that is if they leave her alone. Now, I don't know how well they're going to follow it if that's what happens. But considering the other behind-the-scenes pictures that we've already had of what supposedly happens, you know, in episode 11, some sort of new curse or something to that effect, having them were in New York, Hook, Emma, Henry, and the rest, everybody else is in the Enchanted Forest. I'm not even going to speculate, okay? Like I said in my last video log, we've seen all these pictures of Emma, Henry, and Hook filming in New York with Mystery Guy. And then we've got everybody else in the Enchanted Forest, including Hook somehow being in two places at once. Who the hell knows? And now we've got a new casting call for a black actress who's apparently playing Rapunzel. Excellent. And another actress who's supposed to be playing, we don't know yet, but based on her outfit and other things that people have tweeted, the going theory right now is Wicked Witch of the West. I knew it wasn't going to be Cruella de Vil. Because, really? The only thing that Cruella de Vil ever did was kill a bunch of puppies for their fur so that she could make a fucking fur coat. And her henchmen were two bumbling idiots that got felled by a bunch of puppies, a talking dog, and a talking horse. Really? You're talking about a big bad that's supposed to be rivaling Rumple and Regina. I don't quite think Cruella de Vil measures up. You know, I get that she's on that list of villains and everything, but for this type of show, no. They need someone who can match Regina and Rumple's evilness. And the Wicked Witch of the West definitely serves that up, although all you need is a big ass bucket of water and she's pretty much done for. If they are going in that vein, I don't know what they're gonna do, but I feel like they've already visited way too many worlds. They need to have some storybook time for a while at the very least, because they've already, good lord, they've already visited so many different realms. Now Oz, where's Dorothy? I want to see where's Dorothy. This is gonna be crazy. Well, you know, once has always got their spin on the fairy tales, so I guess we'll see how that works out. I'm not gonna make any Captain Swan speculation or any shipper speculation because at this point, you know, Adam and Eddie have done a really fair job of making us go, what the huh? Nobody knows anything at this point. It doesn't matter what pictures come out. It just gets more and more confusing, but I think that was their intention. They were tired of us getting spoiled and figuring out plot points way before the episodes aired, so I think they're making them intentionally as confusing as possible. 4 for you, Adam and Eddie. 4 for you. The only thing we know the only thing that we're not even really certain, but mystery guy in New York is being called Henry on set, so there's a going theory that he might be Henry's future self. I don't know. Although it would be interesting. And then, of course, the whole Wicked Witch of the West thing. The whole Wicked Witch of the West thing. No idea. Not really sure. Not really certain. But we will know for sure next week. Because after the December 15th mid-season finale, they're going to be showing a preview of what's to come in the spring season, starting in March 9th. And that's when they're supposed to divulge the identity of this character. And I guess we'll have an idea of the direction that they're going in for March. So just so you guys know, after next week's episode, which is called Going Home, on December 15th, that would be my last video log for the next 2.5 months. Unless I, you know, continue to video log on. I may or may not. I might just do text posts on Tumblr. Depends on how good the hiatus is. I mean, we got lucky last summer in that summer practically flew by. Everyone was freaking out because, oh my god, it's 4 months. No one's upon a time. We're gonna go nuts. But almost every week we had some great Captain Swan stuff, so it really kept us going throughout the summer. So hopefully this spring, 2.5 months or so, it'll be just as good. You know, we'll have stuff pouring in that will keep us going, so we won't have, you know, cabin fever. I might just text post that stuff unless I feel like doing another video log. So don't really expect anything until the March 9th spring premiere. But yeah, that's about it for me for Save Henry. Great episode, great moments. Oh, I almost forgot to talk about the flashback. I'm not really into flashbacks. Oh yes, that's right, I was going to talk about flashbacks. It was flashback and Save Henry, detailing Henry's adoption. This is one of the few flashback episodes I actually liked. Because I'm not really much into flashbacks, at least the one that once does them. Only because it's always the same group of characters, and it just drives me nuts. Because Emma is supposed to be the center of the show, and so far the only 2 times Emma has only had 2 flashbacks, and both times they weren't really centered on her. They were about somebody else. Like, she was just there to move the plot, but they were about somebody else. In Tallahassee, it was to introduce Neil, and in Heart of the Truest Believer, it was to introduce Henry and his birth. It was not about her, just her. And I think that's something that all of us would like to see more of. See her time in foster care system, or her time in prison. You know, the events that shaped her, that made her who and what she is now. We would love to see more of that, because she doesn't ever talk about what she went through. What she told Henry is probably the most that she's ever told anyone. So, yeah, I would like to see that. Those 403 years that she was with the Swans, and what happened when they gave her up, when they sent her back. Those things, you know? I'm hoping that at some point in the end of this, you know, in 3B, that we'll get more of that. I know that he was talking about more flashbacks. This upcoming episode 10, it's a snowing one, so it has a snowing flashback about them going after Medusa. More snowing. I know they're gonna do another Rumbells, like, or Rumple flashback. It's like, come on, you guys, you do these flashbacks with them all the time. There's nothing more. What more can you tell in their story? We've already seen them fall in love and all their trials and tribulations with Regina. We've seen them got married and had their honeymoon and blah blah blah, and their daughter be born. Okay, that's their whole freaking life story. Great. We have seen jack shit with Emma, and this is her journey from start to finish. This is her story. This whole show is centered around her. And so far, we've gotten jack and shit on her background. We want more. We get Rumbell, True Love. We get Snowing, True Love. Great, fine, whatever. Hell, you got more flashbacks on side characters than you do about on Emma. Seriously. More Hook flashbacks. You saw how good the Hook episode did, right? Thank you. Don't need no more Rumbell. We don't need more Regina. We don't need more Snowing. We have enough. Seriously. Got plenty. Want to see more Emma. I am interested in seeing what's going to happen with Regina and Robin Hood. Although that pairing right there, still, I know most of the fans like it and are excited to see it. To me, it doesn't make any sense, to be honest with you. But I can't make judgments until I see them together and how they act. I did like the flashbacks in this episode because it really gave me a chance to see Regina out of her element. Because everyone, there's no doubt, she might be an evil bitch, but she's a good mother, and she genuinely loves Henry. And to see how that came about, and how it was interesting to see that at first she couldn't cope, and that she did want to send him back because she didn't think that she could deal with him. And not only that, but she didn't want to deal with the possibility of the Savior coming back. But she took that potion to forget about those problems and set all that stuff aside to focus on Henry. It was really well done. Even the oh my god, what the fuck plot twist thing with the Darlings almost adopting Henry, which only reinforces the theory that Pan set this up all along from the beginning. And then that was why he let Bay go. But did he really know, even way back then, that Bay was going to be the father of this special child? He did say that Henry was special because he was the son of the darkest person in all the realms and the son of the greatest light. So obviously it had to be Bay, because Bay's father is the dark one. So it seems like he definitely had a purpose in letting Bay go. I don't know, maybe that question will be answered in the next 2 episodes, because this definitely focuses on the rest of Peter Pan's plan and whatever he's gonna do. So yeah, that's about it for Save Henry. And I'll see you guys in a couple of days for my video log for the New Neverland. Peace out, guys. Nighty night.